Moving to any new country can have its challenges as well as its rewards. In this video, we're going to get to speak to Ezra, who's relocated from America to Ghana. He got married, had a baby, he's working, doing all that. Today, he's going to share some of the positive experiences and the challenges he's been through since relocating. I hope you guys enjoy the video.
Did I make a mistake coming to Ghana? It was a good thing for me to be here. I thought I was kind of depressed for a little bit because...
What would you do differently, like if you were moving again?
It's very difficult to relate to the average Ghanaian. Number one challenge is some of the positive things that have happened.
Okay, so when it comes to moving to Ghana, everybody's story varies. And that is why it's important to gain perspective on the nature of the whole process of moving to Ghana. Today, we're going to speak to a young man who relocated from America into Ghana roughly 2 years ago. He's going to share his story with us, some of the challenges he's experienced, some of the highlights of his experiences, and the things that he's learned from it. That way, you guys can be better prepared when you make a decision to move to Ghana. Let's go and speak to Ezra. Hi, Ezra. Thanks for being on my channel.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good?
How are you doing yourself?
I'm all right, thank you. Okay. Can you introduce yourself to my subscribers?
Okay, so my name is Ezra, and I recently moved from the US to Ghana, and Jasmine and people like Wademaya and so on and so forth played a big role in me moving back to Ghana. And because the stories they were telling and the videos they were making, everything that I was watching was sending a message that maybe the future was not necessarily in the US, but maybe the future was in Ghana instead. So that is how I ended up back here. And it's been a journey so far.
Okay, that's what we want to know about. What part of America did you live?
So I was in Utah.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it, yeah.
So it's a very conservative part of the US. So I went to school at a university called BYU, and that's in a city called Provo. Well, that's where I had been for the past 7 to, I think, about 7.5 years.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, were you born in America?
No, I wasn't born in America.
Where were you born?
So I was born in Ghana.
Okay.
I grew up in Ghana for most of my life. When I was about to be done with high school, I started preparing to move to the US, and it all happened so quickly, so fast, and it was always in the plan to eventually move there, but the way it happened so quick.
Right, okay.
I remember I was just minding my own business in school one day, and then my mom was like, my late mom was like, "We just heard that the program you're studying is accepted by this school in the US, and so
that was it.
In the next few months, you're out of here."
Right.
And so I was like, whoa, calm down. And so when the time came, I took the journey, and that was the beginning of me being away from home for the first time.
So at that point, were you in high school or university?
I was in high school.
You were in high school, okay. Yeah. So you were excited to leave then, were you, at the time?
It was a mixture of excitement and also fear, because I didn't know what to expect. And up to this point, all my friends, everyone I've ever known was here in Ghana. And so the idea of having to start over in a completely different place was scary to me. So
And what was it like settling in over there, and then your experiences in general in America?
Well, anytime I think back to it, the first time I got there, I mean, it was exciting. Oh yeah, I'm in America. And I was getting to see all the things that I had seen on TV. And actually, I had been to the US before that time, but it was just for a quick visit. And so I knew what to expect, but to move there, that was a whole different thing. And I kept having these moments of, I was kind of depressed for a little bit because I didn't know anybody. And I was just figuring it out as we went. And so, long story short, eventually I came to accept it. I actually remember I called my mom one time and I was like, I have to be back, and I need to leave. Like, I can't do this. And my mom was like, oh. there's people who wish to be in your shoes, and you're here, and you're there, and you're complaining.
Yeah.
And so it was just a switch of mindset. One day I woke up and I was like, you know what? This is my life now. Might as well just embrace it instead of crying about it. So that was a point where everything changed and I started to appreciate it more.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you do over there? What was your job?
So when I first went to the US, my brother, who was an alumnus of the school that I was going to, he was kind of showing me the way and showing me around, and he basically wanted me to go through the path that he took.
He went through, right?
Yeah, so he started out working in custodial at the college because that was like the easiest job to get initially, and so he started me out with that. He helped me get a custodial job. Eventually, I got sick of that job because the hours were crazy. And so I was a very bad employee for that job. And
We've all been bad employees at some point in our lives.
So eventually I told my boss at that job, I don't think this is gonna work. So I found a new job. Luckily, there was a family friend at the university that had a position open where he worked, and so he hooked me up and I started working in a bowling alley. Okay. So that was where eventually I moved from custodial to that.
And so is that where you worked up until you moved to Ghana, or did you?
Oh, no. Okay. I went through a whole range of jobs, you know, in college, just exploring, experiencing. Of course, And so, but the job that I had before moving back to Ghana was in the IT field. Oh, okay. And so that was my last job in the US.
Right, okay. Yeah. Is that what you studied in college? Did you study IT?
I was studying IT. Okay. And it was an interesting program. It was challenging. Yeah. But I think I learned a bit from that. And a lot of the things I learned, I'm still put into use and practice today. So
all that time when you were over there, was your mom here in Ghana or was she over there as well?
So I have half of my family here in Ghana. Okay. And the rest are over there. Okay. And so my mom and my dad, they've never had an interest in moving there despite all our efforts. Okay. They have this absolute loyalty to Ghana, which I never understood for the longest time. Right. And so they would come visit, but they never stayed there for like too long.
Right. So Ezra, you know how you were telling me, basically you were inspired by the videos we put out there, and that's part of the reason why you came to the conclusion of moving back to Ghana. Yes. What else pushed you to make that decision to move back to Ghana?
I had a few things going on in the US that were proven to be successful. So part of the reason I wanted to move back to Ghana was I have a lot of friends and classmates that I left behind, and a lot of times, you know, talking to them, hearing stories about, you know, the difficulties and challenges being in Ghana. And so I was kind of at a point where I had started something with my brother and felt I could be like, help some of these friends of mine in that regard, like help them get access to like high quality jobs and opportunities, at least within the realm of what I was doing. Right. So that was one reason. And also my parents, they were getting old. I mean, they're still getting old. My mom has passed away recently. Yeah, that's okay. But my dad, he's an old guy, and they have been doing a whole lot of things. They don't want to retire. So I felt that coming to Ghana would help expedite their retirement so that they can finally rest.
Retire and right.
And it just so happened that my mom decided to pass away in the middle of that. It was also a good thing that I came because I got to spend some time with her before she left us. And I was just thinking, and even before coming, she kept telling me not to come yet. And I don't know why, but I didn't listen to her, and I still came. And it turns out that it was a good thing for me to be here because I was able to help and contribute in her final days.
And what was it that you were doing that you wanted to bring over here and work with your friends on it?
Yes, so I started this company or this idea with a friend, and the whole idea was an app and so I was making use of my IT stuff.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we were to create an app that solved a very Gen Z, millennial kind of problem that we were victims of. So we're basically creating this thing out of like fun and to laugh about it. And so I started with this friend. He later got some other opportunities which he wanted to explore. So I ended up asking my brother, who is also in IT, to help bring this thing to light. And so together we started this business called Unstuck. And Unstuck is an app. And the app, what it does is, to put it very simply, it just helps people to make decisions faster. So, for example, if I take my wife on a date, or if I want to take my wife on a date, a lot of time is wasted trying to figure out what we want to do. And women can be very indecisive. I'm sure you know that.
I'm not part of it, Ezra.
They can be really indecisive. So like, oh, where do you want to eat? Oh, I don't know. Like, and by the time you get to the end of it, you don't even want to go anywhere anymore. So what the app does is it's like Tinder in that sense, where you swipe on the things you like. She swipes, or your friends, whoever. It's not limited. And when there's a match between all the parties involved on like one specific thing to do or a place to go eat, then voila, everyone's happy. It caught on. A lot of Gen Z and millennial people like ourselves were excited about this whole idea. Saw some success in the early stages. So as I was saying, that is when I was like, okay, if this is something that I am able to do, I want, the people I came up with to be able to have a role to play in this story. And so that is how all that came about.
Prior to you coming, what plans did you make? What things did you organize before coming?
I started saving up because I knew things would be expensive in Ghana.
As usual,
I sold my car, get my affairs in order. I had to get this place ready. So I was kind of doing a coordination of project management while I was there.
Over there,
I bought everything that I wanted in this space. And
so you had people here that could support you with that side of
so
things?
my family that is in Ghana, they were the ones on the ground here, and they were able to help me accomplish. I have some friends who helped me coordinate the shipments and getting containers and all that stuff, and I was able to pack up everything and ship them to Ghana.
So what have been some of the great things that you've experienced since coming? Like, is it what you expected? Like, have things gone to plan? What has some of the positive experiences been for you? I mean, aside from being able to spend more time with your parents, like you mentioned earlier on.
So some of the positive things that have happened, I got married. I forgot to mention, that was actually also part of the reason that I wanted to move to Ghana.
Oh, okay. So were you guys in a distant relationship?
Yeah, we were. And we actually hadn't met in person before.
How did you meet?
Online.
Where?
That's a different story.
You need to tell me what website you're going on.
I just slid in her DMs.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's
so
nice.
We were dating long distance for a long time. And so we were like, okay, you know what? I'm coming to Ghana anyway. And she's not from Ghana, so I had to also make coordinated efforts to get her from where she was to Ghana so that everything works out beautifully. And I came, we met in person, and we still liked each other. So
thank God for that.
So we ended up doing that. So that's one positive thing. And now I have a baby. That's also another positive thing. And also being able to aid with my mom's final days. And also, one of the big things that I would say is a positive thing is some of these businesses that my parents were venturing into. There were things that they had no business entering those kinds of business because that is far from anything that they've ever done. I was able to, come and learn different things than, the IT stuff. And so like farming, the business or the organization that they were running is a school, and the school was going through some transitions, changing of locations and such. So I was able to be part of that whole process. So basically, I've learned things that I wouldn't have learned if I didn't,
You didn't come
here.
Yeah.
And also, I think one of the biggest positive things is I've realized that I have a very resilient in the face of challenges. Yeah, because being in Ghana is a very
it's not sunshine and rainbows.
It's not.
It really
It can be,
aspects
but
of
if you don't
yeah.
prepare yourself well enough, it can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But if you plan properly, it could be heaven. So
agree.
for me, I've experienced both.
Both. Yeah.
So
I think everybody experiences both.
yeah.
Nobody goes completely on one side. Well, I'm speaking for myself here, but I feel like generally speaking, everybody gets a little bit of both. Yeah. So what has some of the challenges been for you then since being here?
Number one challenge is I don't think like a Ghanaian where I used to. So it's very difficult to relate to the average Ghanaian. Like the things that I'm interested in doing and talking about, they are in a whole different world. And that's because they have had a completely different experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's definitely a challenge for me, and it's still a challenge for me because, and also communication, because one thing my parents, I always tell them they did a terrible job was they didn't really teach me, you know, the local language. They claim they did, but I don't see it. So I'm not able to communicate in the way that I want to. And anytime I start speaking, and people start thinking, oh, he's not from here, so let me take advantage of him, or so things like that. Luckily for me, I learned how to speak Pidgin in my school days. So when I sense that someone is trying to finesse me, I have to switch, Pidgin, and then they'll see, okay, he is still one of us.
I know, language is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Another challenge that I faced is sometimes see my colleagues that I was with in the US doing big things, and then I think to myself, am I in the right place? Should I be there doing big things also? Did I make a mistake coming to Ghana? And so those are thoughts that I have, you know, frequently, but I'm still here. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you do differently? Like if you were moving again, what would you do differently to make sure you're better prepared and to alleviate a lot of the stresses that you went through since coming here?
One thing I think I would do differently, or I know I would do differently, is I would have saved up more. I also had some investments. I liquidated everything when making the move, and I think that was a big mistake. I should have still held on to those. And also, I put all my eggs in one basket. So I told you I had this thing I started with my brother, and I put everything in that. So when things start to get challenging in that regard, then it was like, okay, now what is the next move? Yeah. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. If I was doing it again, I would also try and secure a remote job. Also. Yeah. So multiple streams of income basically. Those are the three main things I would do differently.
You know how you said you studied IT? Yeah. When you were working over there, what was specifically your role? Like what skills do you have specifically? Like, because IT is obviously broad, right? Yeah.
And so the job I had, it was kind of a free range job. And so it was basically whatever project was being worked on by the team in that particular time was what I would be working on. But the specifics of it was in disaster management. Right. So, and this was right around the time COVID was happening, so it fit perfectly. What we were doing is we were trying to create a system for the US up to the government level, even create a system where response to disaster like, you know, earthquakes and tsunamis and like all those natural disasters that you can't really predict. Right. The whole system of the Red Cross or emergency response all coming, like coordinating everyone's efforts together in one location or in one system rather than everyone
in their own separate.
Exactly. Right. My role that I played in that system was designing the user experience and the user interface
Okay.
and
Yeah.
how it would look like.
So currently, what do you do? Like, what do you do now that you're in Ghana to make money and take care of yourself and your family?
I still do some investments here and there. So that was one source of income.
Are they all here or over in America?
These ones are in Ghana.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm helping with my parents' school and with the farm. We have the fish that we were raising, and we have some pigs.
Okay.
A broad range of, basically the way my parents operate is whatever they dream about that night, that's the next thing we're going, the next thing that we're going to do.
That is my 101 questions for you. I'm glad you were on the channel to share your experiences because, you know, there's several people that want to do the same thing, you know, and I think on my channel, I try to be as realistic as possible. So I don't want to showcase just the highlights of moving here. I think it's important that people understand that it's not an easy transition to move from the diaspora to here. So yeah. I'm glad you've shared your story and your challenges and all that. So, I mean, if people, I know you're doing 101 things at the moment, but because you're an expert in IT, if people have a role or something like that that's similar to what you've done previously, is that something that you're going to be open to?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely, okay.
I'm definitely open to. One thing I dream of is bringing the people of Ghana to the level of, you know, technological advancement of the West. So basically all the things that I've seen that work for a fact, I know it works. I want those things to be duplicated here in Ghana as well.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it would increase the quality of life of people here. So anyone who needs, you know, anything in the IT world, like, you know, websites, management, like all those techie things, I want to be able to provide my services to them.
To them, okay.
It's definitely something that I'm open to. So anyone who wants to get some help with the digital world, I'm here for you.
All right, guys, so I'm going to put Ezra's contact details in the description box below. I hope you guys have learned a thing or two from this video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you want to see similar types of videos where I share stories of people that have moved from the diaspora to Ghana. Thank you guys for watching once again. Don't forget to follow your bliss, so now life is short. Follow your bliss, na nipa yedeng. Follow your bliss, na di besi biya and follow your bliss, na den na maga. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.